After researching the good elements of a headline, I've come up with 4 checklists. There is Clayton Makepeace checklist, which there's the 4 U's, the Big Four, and Evaldo's questions. Now, let's read the headline. 2 Nobel Prize economists predicted this once-in-a-generation wealth shift. Will you be left behind? A terrifying new trend is creating thousands of new millionaires. Barron estimates 20,000 to 200,000 so far, while at the same time destroying the financial future for many others. I've read this headline and this is what I get out of this. And the eyebrow of the headline, which is the first part, they talk about how 2 Nobel Prize economists predicted this once in a generation wealth shift. So, 2 Nobel Prize economists evokes credibility. So, that's why I checked here. Credibility checked. Predicted this once in a generation wealth shift. Once in a generation, that's new and only. Wealth shift, that's big. Will you be left behind? That's FOMO, right? And urgency, which is from this checklist. Is it urgent? Yeah. A terrifying new trend is creating thousands of new millionaires, while at the same time destroying the financial future for many others. A terrifying new trend is urgent because it's terrifying and it's new, so it's really unique. It's creating thousands of new millionaires, so it's big. It's a big wealth shift. Barron's estimates 20,000 to 200,000 so far. That's credibility too because uh, it's expanding upon the headline and telling details about this opportunity, while at the same time destroying the financial future for many others. This is an A-B fallacy, right? It creates intrigue, and the reader may ask, well, on what side am I going to be if I don't read this, right? So it's a bribe. So we already checked bribed because we're bribing the reader to read the sales letter by making him curious and intrigued about on what side am I going to be, and that's an A-B fallacy. We're instilling this fallacy on the reader like you're gonna be a millionaire or you're going flat broke. So that's an A-B fallacy. And well, let's check. Does it grab the eyeballs? Will you be left behind? Yeah, that's eyeball catching. And it's FOMO, so it's urgency. It's urgency, it's FOMO, and it grabbed the eyeballs. So check, check. Pattern interrupt? Not really. Does it flag the prospect? Yeah, because the prospect doesn't want to go broke. Curiosity and intrigue? Yes. That's why I make a big question mark here. It's intriguing to know on which side am I going to be. Does it make a promise? Mm, it doesn't make a promise of a specific benefit, only that you have to read this. It begs to be read, because you really want to know about this new trend that is changing the world, right? And you don't want to be caught off guard by it. So Yeah. Does it establish cred? Yes. Two Nobel Prize economists, Barron's estimates and numbers. Expand upon the headline? Yeah. This is expanding upon the headline, telling details and making it more credible. So the expansion on the headline and credibility go hand in hand. Does it bribe to read? Yes. With an open loop. On which side am I going to be? Which side am I going to be? Evaluate those questions. Why is it unique? Well, this is a once in a generation wealth shift. So is it unique? Yep. What's in it for me? Not going broke. How do I know this? How do I know this is real? Well, two Nobel Prize, Barron's estimates, numbers. So yeah, that's it. Now we already made our analysis of this sales letter. The next step is on a document, you're gonna make a summary of what you notice is in the structure of this headline. So that's what we're going to do now. This is this is what I came up with. The eyebrow of the headline um, established credibility and warns about a big wealth shift prediction. So this is kind of like a prediction headline. The headline attacks straight up FOMO with a FOMO question. And the deck copy, which is below the headline, expand upon the headline, uh, tell specific details, and make an open loop and bribe to read. So this is the structure. And the next step is ask questions about the characteristics of the headline that you like. For example, I really like how this headline evokes FOMO. And FOMO, for those who don't know, is fear of missing out. FOMO and urgency. And those are some questions that I wrote here. Will you be left behind? And my question is, can I make a question that evokes FOMO in my sales letter or headline? Can I tie the FOMO question to an AB fallacy? An AB fallacy being you're going to be a millionaire or you're going flat broke, right? This is an AB fallacy. There's A or B. There's no in between. There's an AB fallacy. It's just a resource for when you're writing. So yeah, for example, these questions are gonna be useful when we are writing a sales letter or a headline or the section that we happen to be analyzing. And when we want to practice, for example, let's say I want to practice headlines with this framework. This is how it would look like. I'm gonna put in a practice notes document the questions that I want to practice or the framework I want to practice with those questions that caught my attention. So if I want to make a headline practicing with this framework, I'm gonna take this headline as an inspiration in terms of structure and the questions that I wrote. So let's say I want to practice. This is my practice document, and these are the questions. Let's say I want to practice now. So I will come up with a headline and well, I already wrote the headline. This was the headline for me practicing. Can I make a question that evokes FOMO in my sales letter? Yep. I mean, are you gonna make it? Just an example. It's not the best. I just wrote this. But yeah. Can I tie the formal question to an A-B fallacy? Yeah, I didn't make up the A-B fallacy, but just the structure. So, financial Nostradamus predicted this world-changing blank, whatever. Are you going to make it? 7 years ago. So, this 7 years ago and specific details is based upon this structure. The deck copy expand upon the headline, tell specific details, and make an open loop and bribe. So that's what I did. 7 years ago, a mysterious world figure made an historic announcement, and it's making a lot of people A, while at the same time doing B to many others right now. So right now, this is urgent. This is urgency. Are you prepared? This is an open loop. So, well, this is in short how you practice a headline. And maybe you can make a hmm, maybe you can make a testimonial box here like Fox News. Say Fox News. It's a very right, something like that. Again, this is not creativity. This is not creativity. Why? I'm gonna show you. This testimonial about Fox News will be a testimonial. I mean, of course, you're not gonna steal word by word the copy. We're just practicing. But just so you know how you practice, you first imitate, right? So this is about this Fox News thing was not even my idea. It's it's just an idea from this. You can make a you can put a testimonial on your headline. And I learned that from this. So when you're starting practicing and you're new, you don't have anything to be creative about. So you first copy, then you innovate. You first imitate, then you innovate. So this is just an example of how I would practice a headline. The same thing will be for the lead, and maybe I'll make a video tomorrow or whenever I do it. And it's the same, right? You're first going to analyze you're first going to analyze the section that you want to, and you take notes on that section, and then you practice. And you practice. Yes, practice. Then you practice. First imitate, then innovate. And this structure doesn't only work in financial. For example, if I want to make a headline for a sales letter selling a ketogenic diet book, you can make maybe something with the same framework about, well, are you gonna be left behind, right? What we're doing here with this practice is creating our own mental representation of how a good headline must be. This is why we're analyzing good headlines and practicing them, because we want to internalize the structure of a really good headline so that when we're writing our own headlines, we have some mental representation on how it may be what we're gonna write. So this is the process. This is how we do it in a headline. Then you can also compare against the model and correct mistakes, but I'm not gonna do that today in this video. That's it for now. This is like the fourth time that I record this video today. Can you believe it? So yeah, bye. Bye 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 bye.